What's going on with you peoples? Everybody jump in the live, jump in the live. What you doing? What you doing this evening? What you doing this evening? Let me see the hands. Let me see the hands. Yeah. Ah, my brother's in the house. We got a special important person in the house today. And if you didn't catch the title, this is the plug. You're gonna have to send me, oh man, you're gonna have to send me a message, brother. We'll get you on an interview on the next, on the part 2 of this. And so until COVID-19 ends, and even after it ends, I just want to say to everybody before we get Trey Arts in the building, I just want to literally say that my company, SCE, we gonna be in the building. Okay, we're gonna be doing these videos. Everybody that's got their own business, especially black-owned businesses, we're gonna be doing interviews featuring your business, talking about who you are, what you bring to the black community, what you bring to uplift your community, not just in this time of COVID-19, but going forward. You feel me? So right now, without further ado, I'm glad he's in the building because we gonna get the Paint Night King in the building. You feel me? The building. And we're just waiting for him to pop in right now. Yeah. So everybody, how you doing during this time of COVID-19? Come on, tell me, speak to me. I want to see the hearts and the likes. I want to see the waves going on.
Yes.
Brother, how you doing, man?
What you doing, boss? Long time, man. Long time.
Recognize the face now?
Yeah, long time, man.
Oh, brother, it's a super long time. Hold on, let me respond back to some of these waves.
Yes.
Let these people get loaded in. How you doing today, man?
I've been doing good, brother. I've been doing good, man.
Oh, bro. You know what's funny?
Good.
I was sitting here and I'm like, so a lot of the questions, I'm probably going to talk about some stuff off the scenes, outside of the interview that these guys don't know. Excuse me, let me put on my eyes right quick. Oh, we got people joining in the building out the wazoo right now. Come on.
Yes. You guys join up. Let's go.
Get in the building. We want to see the likes. We want to see the waves. We want to see the waves. Yeah, get in the building. Get in the building. I got family in the building. We got your peoples in the building. Oh, yes.
For sure. Let's go, guys. You guys share this thing.
Come on, guys. Let's get the waves going. Hey, Trey, remember when 93.5 just started back in the day? And they had that weird little tune playing in the background?
I'm liking it.
Yeah, you hear that?
I'm liking it.
That's an SCE Entertainment original right there, brother.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
You know, I was gonna play something, but it's gonna be just dancehall. So I decided, let you do that.
Hey, we can take turns after this. Don't worry. We got your peoples in the building. I see them logging on right now.
All right.
All right, so let's jump into this because on one hand, I don't want to hold you up, but when my baby daughter starts crying, I start running. I got a 4-month-old.
Congrats, man. Congrats.
Thank you, brother. She's the queen of the building.
All right.
So I'm sitting here and I'm watching my wife literally do these paint nights with my daughter, and I'm not even gonna lie, I caught feelings over one because it was so good. It was so good, and I'll run in a bit and go grab what we did recently because we were on live with you yesterday, which I want to say honestly was mad enjoyable. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't fill in my background, but like everything else is good to go.
Wow.
Everything else is good to go, and I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed myself. But I'm sitting here, and the first show I saw my wife and my mother-in-law jump on, I was like, yo, what? Like they're talking about Trey and. You know, he's got Oscar, the can and everything, and I'm just like, oh, you guys
you guys have to leave Oscar out of this, man. Oscar is a champ.
Okay, fine, okay. We'll leave
Oscar is a champ, man. If you call Oscar, you can make Oscar want to come and jump around again, you know.
I did. So I'm sitting there now, and I'm like, yo, what is going on? Like, what is this move? Like, where is this coming from? So as I'm sitting there, yeah, you got the other side of me, sorry. As I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, what is going on? So one day I decided to start paying attention to what they're doing, especially because we had it casted from the TV in the living room. So they were like, my wife's like, okay, we can use your account. I was like, yeah, use my YouTube account. So I come down in the living room and I see you mid-session painting. You got the music going. And I'm like, I swear I know that cat. I know him. And she's like, no, you don't. You don't know him. I'm like, no, I know him.
You don't know Trey. You don't know Trey.
Yeah, you know how it goes. A lot of people be name dropping. So, you know what I mean? But I'm like, nah, maybe that's not him. Because, like, what happened, the facial hair was throwing me off.
Yeah, you know.
Remember when we were around in 2006? You only had a mustache and a little
just a little piece and the sideburn.
You didn't have,
I didn't have this little peach here, you know? I have this little peach.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, I know him. And I'm like, nah, man, like, we used to be in the same building in 2006, 2007. So I'm like, I'm going to reach out to him right now and start asking some questions. I don't
man. Appreciate it.
Questions from my business email.
Man.
Then, like, your assistant was responding, so I'm like, all right, let me switch up my flow.
Yeah.
Business mode right here because
my assistant's like, hey, do you know this person? I'm like, wait, so you know, she's good. She's been on things though, man, to make this thing come true and hooking this up. So she been good. So big up to my assistant if she's watching.
Your assistant. Honestly, your assistant is A1 boss. Like, I give her big ratings for this because I'll be honest, like, it's good. It's not even good. It's great and excellent when, like, you have somebody and people on your team that support the move and what you see and what you're bringing to the table. And like, I just figured that, like, you know what? Because I mean, part of watching what you've been doing and how you've been inspiring my daughter and my mother and my wife, I'm like, you know what? All right, let's get an interview. Let's talk. Let's reconnect. So a lot of things were informal. I know that.
For sure.
There's a reason for that because anybody who knows me, my family, friends, they'll tell you that for the most part, I'm a spontaneous guy. And especially in this time, I've been kind of sitting back and kind of not necessarily waiting for inspiration, but
big up everyone.
I've been sitting there looking and been like, okay, what's going to be the catalyst? What's going to be that spark? What is that door that I got to walk through that's going to get all this started? And SCE, just as a brief cap before we get into this interview, is all about supporting the move, right? So that's why the title is called Support the Move, the interview, because I believe, especially as young Black men, one, people need to see us uplifting each other.
That's facts. That is facts.
But number two, they need to know that we're making moves around the city, right? And there's nothing better that I like to see than what I know is especially coming from my own people. I don't care what they do, whether they got their own catering business going on, their chefs, whatever it is. And so the way I saw, like, you just made an immediate impact in my house without us even in talking. And I'm just like,
appreciate that.
I'm just like, you know what? And even me joining in, bro, I haven't painted or colored nothing in years, bro. Years.
Boy, hey.
So
it's relaxing, man. It's relaxing.
Bro, I was sitting there and I'm like waiting for the instructions. I'm nervous. And my wife is like, yo, just relax. Just relax.
It's your first time, that's why.
I gotta wait for the instructions. And she's like, nah, just relax. Like, just get into the vibe. And tutus, I was like, yeah. I'm sitting there and I'm just, you know what I mean? I got my paint easels and everything, and I'm just coloring and I'm painting along, and I'm like, okay, I got this. So
this guy even did the stars for his background. I bet you did some extra in your background.
Funny enough, though, I was sitting there and I was like, I didn't want to paint the full background. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, but I want to do something. My daughter, now me and my daughter's always clashing. My oldest daughter, me and her is always clashing because we're just stubborn alike, big-headed alike, opinionated alike, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and she goes, why don't you put some sparkles and stars in your background? And I'm like, stop it, I ain't putting nothing in my background.
Yeah.
It's white. That's the way it is. And I'm like, low key though, I'm gonna put some sparkles and stars in my background.
You know, you have to go and give her that painting after you're done.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, give that to her for
sure.
sure.
And sign it to her, leave it up in her room. But bro, we've got like literally, I want to say at least 6 different like canvases just because of your live nights, your Treyarch live nights.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the support for sure.
Bro,
the support goes up a long way.
You know what I mean? Oh man. So and the funny thing is, it wasn't even that really pushed me. It's when I saw a picture of the grand opening of the store.
Yes.
Wearing black pea coat, and right when you were about to cut that ribbon, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Different guy, eh?
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Spider-Man in the background, and essentially, I'm just like, okay, like, this is what the move is.
Exactly.
But a lot of people don't know, and I don't even know if you remember, because there's one thing I'm going to bring up from 2006, 2007 that I don't even know if you remember. Me and you were chilling on a Saturday, and you brought this up, but let's jump into the interview questions and get some talk.
All right. Welcome everyone. Welcome.
Want them to hear from you. So go ahead.
For sure.
For those that don't know you, for those that don't know him, here he is, Trey of Trey Arts. He's the visionary. He's the El Capitan. Right. We're just going to let him introduce himself, and we're going to get into these questions. Trey, introduce yourself, brother.
All right, guys. My name is Trey. I go by Trey Arts, and I started my business about, let's say, 7-8 years ago. And if you guys don't know me, I'm the Paint Night King. All right. So any artwork I can make you create. All right. So you guys will get to know me more during this interview. I'm not going to tell you guys too much. All right. So if you guys have questions too, don't be afraid to put it in the box. All right. So we can try to keep up with everything.
Exactly. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So as we said, me and you, our first time meeting and all that, 2006, 2007, literally right on the cusp.
Yeah.
And I'm a transparent person in the sense to say I'll give people as much information about me as I feel they need to know. You know? And so I was in a transition in that time. Matter of fact, I had just left one spot and needed a new spot to live.
Yeah.
And a friend, an acquaintance, maybe I'll say, of yours, DJ Versatile, reached out to you guys. I was like, yo, I got a brother in need. Like, what's going on? Can you guys help him? And like, yours was one of the first voice to speak up and be able to get me into a new spot. And I was just like, all right, cool. And during that time, like, how was it living for you around that area of Chalk Farm? Because the way I heard about it was like Chalk Farm was a, you know, cops and Indians town, you know, Guns and Roses town, like don't walk certain places after dark town. So like, how was it for you between 2006 till your transition out? How was it for you living in that area?
Well, it wasn't any really different from coming from Connection, coming from Driftwood. You know, so it's a little smaller. You have about just 3 buildings or so, right? So living in buildings, especially once you go, the one thing about Chalk Farm elevator, there's enough tension in the elevator because there's only always one elevator work out of those 3. So every time you go in an elevator is full of just beer mans. So you know everyone have something on them.
Yep.
So going in and out your apartment is you just don't know what's gonna happen every single day.
Right.
So us moving to Chalk Farm, we just came from a shelter. All right, so we just came from right down by Eglinton, and so when we came out the shelter, we're like, all right, let's go find spots. And what sucks, the only place we could afford is in the ghetto. Right, so we got right back into Chalk Farm, and when I moved there, I was like, damn, this is gonna be very interesting. I'm like, this is. As soon as we moved there, we already feel eyes and everything because we're not from there. Yeah. All right. So there's a new, especially two black guys coming in an area that nobody knows. So it was, at first it was a little nerve-wracking, but it's nothing that anybody can't handle. I just think if you just keep to yourself, everything will be good. Right. But my whole point is, doesn't matter what area I was in. Once I'm in my apartment or in my space, I know I am home. Doesn't matter what area it is. So as long as I can make it up that elevator and go inside my door, I am good.
Bless. And you know what's funny about that? Because like when I had moved into the area, and like we're there now, there was enough times when I was coming home and I was like, how are we living in this area? Like I never told you guys, I don't even remember if I told you guys this. So one night I was coming home from work and the bridge that leads from the backside of the food basics. That bridge, I think they call it Murder Bridge or something like that.
Yeah, because a lot of guys get jumped there. So
So first of all, I'm like, it's wintertime, and I'm like, yo, I see the path for the bridge is clear. So I'm like, I'm not trying to walk all the way on the main street Street to come all the way
Oh,
down
wait, just there,
court
yeah.
side of the front entrance of the building. It's
Facts.
too long. So I'm walking over the bridge now, and I go to walk over the bridge, and something, you know when you get that feeling, like it's just like, dude, like check your surroundings. So I'm making myself up the path now. As soon as I get to the top of the hill, and I'm like, all right, I'm about to just walk in the building, go in the building. All right, we're about to do this. Bro, I see one man. And they're using me for cover, fam. This is the thing that I was. I
don't think you told us this. I don't think you told us this. Not me. I don't think I heard this.
I was upset and scared at the same time.
Yeah.
Because they used me for cover.
Like as a shield.
Yeah, I'm moving and I'm trying to keep moving because we all know say stray bullet don't have no name.
Fast.
So
you know that.
I'm trying to walk fast. My man, there's a man behind me going like.
Yeah, that bridge. Yeah, that bridge is a serious bridge. That's a serious bridge, man.
I just walked right in the building. I didn't even bother look. I'm like, I don't want nobody to ask me if I was a witness to anything. I'm walking in the building. So I walked in the building and came upstairs. I was shook. Like, I was shook. So anything we got into that night, I was about it because I wanted my mind to get away from that. But it's true, like you said. And this goes to something that I've always said. And I mean, even after living at Chalk Farm and going different places like Kipling, which was, I thought that was when I was really going to get tested. You know what I mean? You know, as long as you mind your business, if you know that you're going up to your apartment, go up to your apartment. You know you going grocery shopping, you go grocery shopping. So as long as you mind your business, you respect the atmosphere, and as much as you can, you respect the people there. It's not to say it's guaranteed that nothing's going to happen to you, but for the most part, nothing's going to happen to you. And you'll be able to get to where you need to go. So trust me. I definitely feel you and share the same sentiment on that.
Yeah.
Now, I want to get into the vision of Trey Arts, and I don't even remember if you remembered saying this, but I remember we were chilling on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And I saw you had all these scrapbooks and these art books, and I was like, yo, like, you know, and them times you didn't even have as much tattoos as you have now. So
yeah,
I was sitting,
no more. Or they're like one or two.
More space.
I don't know no more. But no, wow. That's a long time, man. That's a long time.
Yo, bro, the mind traps. You know what I mean?
Tell you.
So I'm sitting there and I walk in and you're like, yo, you're like showing me your artwork. And you go into a vision that you had then, probably about now, which is what Trey Arts has come. And you literally say to me, you're like, yo, bro, one day I'm going to have my own studio and I'm going to be doing live videos and live shows. You were like, say bet it doesn't happen. And I was just like, I hear you. And you're like, you literally like doubled down on it. You were like, nah, bro, I don't think you hear me. Like, you hear what I'm saying, but you got to hear the vision in my words, and you got to see the vision through my words. You literally said to me, like, bro, I'm going to be literally doing art shows. I'm going to be doing my own art. I'm going to be having people buy my own art stencils, and they're going to be joining in. And so when I walked in the
ideals for time.
Holy, bro, you're talking truth.
Yeah.
So when I saw what was going on in my house, I was like, the first thing that came, I sat and talked to my wife for about a week. I'm walking in the house. I'm like, babe, Trey doesn't even remember that he probably said this while we were talking. But he said this about this, then, now. And I'm like,
2006.
2006, you put it into proclamation. And what? How many years later? 14 years later? Because I believe the move is, as you said, has been in fruition before now. But
yes,
like,
it's been there.
To light so everybody can understand.
Yeah.
The man said this in 2006 that he was what he's doing now, what Trey Arts is now, and what it will still become in the future. He already spoke this into existence. So the first thing
manifested.
I want the viewers to go on.
No, I said I manifested.
Yeah, exactly that. And a lot of people, I think, whether they're entrepreneurs, whether they're joining a company to work, you know, if you have a level of expectation that can bring out the greatness in you, even though you don't see it now, it has to manifest. Manifestation, that's the operative word, brother. That's the operative word. And
that's a very powerful word too. It's a very powerful word.
100%. And people got to know that, especially in this time, that anything that we're going through, from COVID-19 to police brutality, I mean, if you can overcome it, because let's be honest, there's some people who have faced racism in the workplace, they haven't been able to overcome it. Let's just be real. There's some people who have encountered police brutality, they haven't been able to overcome that.
Correct.
And so it's one of those things where it's just that people got to realize that even in your struggles, whatever you haven't been able to overcome, everything is geared towards whatever you're willing to think in here. Whatever you can conceive in your mind, you can have it in the physical. And people got to know that manifestation.
They have to. They have to know that. They have to, man.
So speaking of, go on.
Since you said something that you never told us, all right, at that time with the bridge. So I don't think you know what we were doing.
No.
So in those times, we were actually doing stuff we're not supposed to be doing. And like
the game.
The game.
Yeah.
All right. So it's just like, so when you came there, it's just like, I know you wanted to do better from whatever was going on in your life personally. I'm a guy, I never really get into people's life.
Right.
So, but I know how it feels, because the reason why I was in that position is because of just whatever position led me up to that. So I didn't want it to be led on to you as a black man. So I never had anybody there to say they love me. So I turned to the streets for that.
Right.
All right. So, so when I seen you came there, I'm just like, man, this is another. I've been living in parks and stuff. I was homeless for like 2 years of high school. I finished high school living in a park.
Yeah.
So so now when I see you came, then I'm just like, where you gonna go? If no one is gonna accept you, where's it gonna go? So we had to do it. Doesn't matter what game we were in at that time, and we don't want to put you in any danger or anything, but we know how we were, and we know that we don't mix and mingle. We just do what we got to do, and that's it. So as you see, like every time we hang, it's always just positivity. It's nothing. We don't try to say anything negative about each other. We're just trying to move on and grow as individuals. So that's something maybe you did not know about.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I didn't know it fully because you guys tried to actually keep that from me, and it was funny because I remember I walked in one day and you guys literally said, like, you guys were having a conversation about a move, and like I overheard it, and I started walking towards the room, and I was like, you know what? Even for the code, I'm like, if they don't invite me in it, let me just stay away. But one thing I did respect, and I never said this back then, but I'm saying it now, is that you guys took the time, because I was looking for guidance and acceptance and a whole bunch of things at that time, and I had a whole bag of problems, like, and you guys went through certain issues with me, and it being in that place where, like, if and people who don't know my struggle and where I'm coming from and the things that I've had to overcome mentally, like, I was that kleptomaniac in a sense.
Yeah.
Like, bro, anything that was loose, my hands would touch it. Even if I wasn't gonna get away with it, but my hands was touching it. And you guys like held me down and said, yo, dude, like, you don't, whatever you feel, wherever you're coming from, don't bring that here. Like, we're accepting you, you're in the mix, like, be part of the fam. And as much as it didn't pan out to maybe the way we would have all wanted it,
yeah,
I think that what you guys said to me, and I'm not gonna lie, I got some hard knocks after that, because like transitioning to Kipling, like Kipling was a no nonsense, and I didn't have people
no
like
nonsense
and the rest of the crew around to kind of just say, okay, you know what I mean?
Just what you do.
You know what I mean? It was just like a one quick warning, and then everybody was watching like what you're doing after that.
Exactly.
So I'm sitting there now, and years later, seeing who I am today. I got my wife, I got my kids. You know, I got my own job. You know what I mean? Thank you, brother. Thank you. And I'm doing things, and I'm making moves, and I've seen and met a lot of people, but there's a lot of times where some people will ask me, and you know, some people say, you know, Blake's a jerk, whatever. And this is how I look at it. I said, look, if I see you as a person and you don't come from a time when you had to live in a shelter, and I'm not saying that people don't go through issues. I'm not saying people don't have struggles.
No.
But I feel like once you experience that shelter life, once you experience that homeless life, you get me, and you're coming out of that struggle, for you to turn around and not respect life after that, is an indictment on your character. So when I
Yeah.
see people who have never had to go through that disrespect in life, it's like I don't hate them, but it's almost like I want to war with them.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, yo,
You know what you got, man.
you know what I mean?
You know what you got.
And it's funny, and I'll go on to say it like this before we move on to our next question. Is like, I really solemnly believe that God placed y'all in my life, and specifically has allowed me to be able to see where you are today, as a reminder to myself.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
I like that. Yeah.
Because it's not just about, okay, the problems and the struggles that I come out of. You get me? It's about me knowing that for everything God has done for me, for every prayer that I've ever put up, that those prayers in turn should go out to everybody who's ever helped me, whether I meet them or not. Us meeting here and doing this today is a testament of everything that you said you were going to accomplish in your life. But for the times when I did pray and I'm like, Lord, yo, help the people who put a hand in my life and help to keep me from hell, death, and the grave.
Correct.
You get me? Help them to prosper in whatever they're doing. And if it be possible, help us to meet one day so I can see the testimony of their life. You know what I mean? Because trust me, there's a lot of people that I've known, and between 2006 to now, they're either dead, in jail, or I have just never been able to see them again, whether they're prospering or not. And
That's
I'm
true.
so glad. I want to say that with the utmost of feelings in this interview, that I'm so glad, one, you're alive.
Yeah.
I'm
Of course.
so glad that you're prospering.
I'm still here.
I'm so glad that you're still here.
I'm still here. And I'm going nowhere.
People's champ. The people's champ is in the building.
Right, exactly.
All right. So everybody, you guys know where we're coming from. You know where the man's coming from. Okay.
From
so
nothing.
Let's talk about, as we've talked about manifestation into, where Treyarch really came from as a thought, and on paper when you were just going through different scrapbooks and different art books, just doing different things to keep the craft alive and keep it tangible inside and outside of you. What Treyarch is today? What other aspects of Treyarch, visionary wise? What was your? I would probably say your most important catalyst that helped you to break through to where you are now.
Jail.
Really?
Jail was it? Jail and one white man.
Okay.
That would help me realize a lot of stuff. So after Chalk Farm and everything, I got into a whole little problem where I was looking for like 30 years in jail.
Jeez.
I didn't really had no more hope. So at my trial, my judge, a white man, he was retiring, and I was his last case. So he just wanted to do something before he retired. So he seen my case, and he asked me, he's like, yo, what is wrong? Straight up, what is wrong? And one, that meant a lot because no one ever asked me what's wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So I always try to look happy or whatever, but I have a lot of anger in me.
Right.
So when the judge asked me, and I told him my whole story, that me, coming in this country, and then I was in foster care, and then I was homeless, and I literally had just had the street to grow up on. And for some, I don't know what motivated him. I actually entered before that actual arrest. I entered a Woodbridge art fair. Okay. I just, I was talking to this girl at this time, and I always like paint or draw certain things. And she's like, why don't you just enter it in an art fair? So she's like, I know some friend in Woodbridge that entered an art fair. So I'm like, I never really tell too much people I drew, because me being from Guyana, part of the West Indies, yes, guys, Guyana's part of West Indies. All right, Guyana to the world. So people, as a man, people, family members always tell me drawing is not the way to go. Being a Caribbean man that's supposed to fix cars, supposed to build houses and I can still do all of those, but it's not what I want to do. So when I never really tell people about that. So I entered the Woodbridge Art Contest just as I know and that person know. And I came second place. So the judge told me
Yeah.
he was the one who actually judged my art. So when he told me that, I was like, are you for real? Like, you mean you judge my painting, like the Woodbridge Art Fair? He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And he said my whole full name. And I'm like, I know you have it on paper. He's like, no. He's like, I remember you signed it. Because the way I sign my paintings, I always have a certain way to sign it. So when he told me all about that, I'm like, this guy actually saw my painting. Wow. So from then, he told me, he's like, look, I'm going to give you one more chance in life. Is either you mess it up or you just elevate from here. And this man, he was about maybe 70, his early 70s, late 60s, maybe.
Right.
And he said, you go back. And we had the juries there and everything. We had witnesses there ready to testify against me. And this man just look at the stuff, look at the paper. He's like, guards, take him back, let them go and change. Everybody, the courtroom, everybody dropped because this was in New Market.
Right. Jeez.
And so I'm walking by a whole bunch of white people, and I'm the only black guy in cops. So I'm just I'm like, damn. I was like, I'm not winning nothing today. So when the man told me that, like, I'm watching him, I'm like, are you for real? Is this a joke? He's like, no. We were in that courtroom for maybe an hour just talking about my life, my story. And I basically told him, you know, whatever you want to do, I don't really care. And with me even being disrespectful to him at the beginning, he still found something that I never seen in myself.
Right.
So he told me to go back, change. I changed, I got all my stuff. It's, you know, it started a lot of problem in the cell. And once, like, jail is different. Every little thing you have to be careful about. So once I was free from a 30-year sentence, things started going crazy. Like what this guy did, like, did he talk? Did he do something? I've been questioned. So to a point where like I have to be showered with a security guard right there. It was getting to that point where people thought of something that is not even true, because with this case, it was just me, myself, and I. It was no other individuals, right? So I had to look out for my safety in jail too, going back to get my freedom out. So I'm going back to a spot where I felt comfortable. Now I have my freedom. Now I felt like going back to a place where I might not even have my freedom to come back out. Right. So it got to a point where it's just like every time we come out or we go back in a jailhouse, we have to undress. We have to redo all the procedure again, and it's not fun. No. You have 4 men around you. You have to undress naked, watching you, and you have to lift everything up. Every piece of skin you have to lift up. And I was thankful. I was actually happy to get naked that one more time. I was happy because I'm like, yo, you guys, this is the last time you guys see me. I'm like, you guys better be ready for this. You guys better be ready. So
I ain't coming back. So y'all take a good look.
I'm telling you, right? So from then I really started. I realized, look, yo, art really saved me. If I never entered that Woodbridge Art Fair, that man would never seen my art. He might be like, okay, you know, let me cut little years off you. But for him to give me my whole life back. Right. You know, up to now, I still should be maybe dead. Who knows? So, but like, for him to give me my life back, I'm like, all right, I'm going to take this serious. I'm going to try to see how could bounce from doing this to doing art. So, of course, once I was released, I was still put on house arrest. I was about almost 8 months house arrest. My curfew was 5 p.m. Jeez. And every day I have to be inside at 5 p.m. And my girlfriend at that time told me, hey, you're on house arrest. Why won't you create a business name? Okay. I'm like, no, nobody want to paint and draw my art. Nobody want to. I'm like, no, I think I can run a business. I'm like, that's too clean. I don't want that. Yeah. So she forced me, and I actually created. I'm like, what about, Trey Art? She's like, I like that. I'm like, okay, it sounds
Simple.
good, Trey Arts.
Yeah.
So, man, I had about 10 logos I have drawn for my business. And within the first week, I've got to be the illustrator of a book called Just Like That. And
Right.
I was like, okay, this is going the way I think it should be going.
Right.
And it was still hard because from me being on the street and I could make certain move and make certain money,
Mm-hmm.
or me doing what I love, but the money value is like this.
Right.
All
Once
right,
them
so
pockets weak, you start feeling that.
you start feeling it. So
Yeah.
I had, thank God for those house arrests because I had time to reevaluate the way I think,
Right.
my my thought process, how I feel, how I love, because I didn't know how to love something that people didn't want me to love.
Right.
So it was very hard for me to accept it because people did not accept it. So I had to accept my art. I have to accept being Trey. Whatever you do is amazing. No matter if this person don't like it, because at that time, if somebody told me my art was garbage, it might be a different response you might be getting than if you tell me that now.
You know
So
what I mean?
yeah, so it's
Maturity
just
goes
like
a long way, brother.
it goes a long way. So I just didn't really want to put that energy out because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to do this, but mentally, I'm still stuck in this street mind. So I know if somebody crossed me or said something, I might explode and go right back around again, and my second chance in life is done. Right.
Right.
So my last chance in life, I should say, not second,
Yeah.
last chance in life is done.
Yeah.
So it took a lot. It took a lot from coming from like especially truck farm and just trying to stay alive and trying to feed yourself. Um, it's I'm happy that I worked that hard. I'm happy that I went through so much downs because if I didn't do that, I don't think it'll make me the man I am now.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
So that's big
it's
because it's funny that you mentioned that too. And I'm not going to take a whole time and tell my story, but there's a certain chunk of my life
yeah.
that whether I want to admit it or not, or whether I'm happy with it or not,
Hmm.
there's a certain part of my story that mimics your story.
Hmm.
And the only caveat, the only difference I'll probably say in my story is that, well, okay, let me put it like this. One thing I like about what you just told the people and told myself,
Hmm.
right? And people got to know this in this day and time that not all white people hate black people. Let's just put
Yeah.
that out there, right? Because, and we all know how the court system goes. You don't know
Yeah.
who you're getting.
You do
It's
not
not
know.
the
You do
lawyers you
not.
have to fear, eh?
Nope.
And a lot of people don't notice. They think that, okay, yeah, once you get in there, whoever the prosecutor is, whoever is showing for the
It's different.
province or the city or the state, that's the person you got to be afraid of. No, because if the judges had a bad morning, chill. You better hope that they have an
That's
utmost
it.
professionality
You're
about
done.
them, a professionalism about them, that when they step up to that judge's stand and that judge's seat, that they'll put away what they're feeling about their life or what their prejudice or biases that they have, that and literally try to look at you for who you are and maybe even see you better than you see yourself right now. You feel me?
Facts.
So
Yeah.
I remember a time. So after I left from Chalk Farm, like I said, left from Chalk Farm, fell into a situation, ended up getting snitched on. Not gonna say that the reason why I got snitched on wasn't my fault, but we all know how the streets go. No matter what you do, the minute somebody snitches on you, hey, it is what it is. Like you're it's like by the street code, you're exonerated for what happened. So
exactly.
3 o'clock in the morning, I just left, and at that time I managed to score a swing manager position at McDonald's. Right, so I'm working the overnight shift, leaving the overnight shift to go to work at Gemma Communications for 9 a.m.
Yo, I worked in that spot too.
Bro, that was my second time going back there.
Yo, I got fired from that place the first day I walked in there.
Dope, bro. That place was, and that's another conversation for another interview because trust me, there's a part 2 to what I want to do to this where we get to the Grammy. But I get snitched on, so I get dry at 3 o'clock. I fall asleep in the Tim Hortons, right? So 3 o'clock in the morning, and I wake up out my sleep, and I'm just like, all right, like I need to get to the other side of town to make sure I can start my job. So
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to leave the Tim Hortons, go to get to the bus stop, and the police are walking in. They're looking at me, and I'm like, I ain't do nothing wrong. So I keep walking. My mind, as I get outside, goes, bro, I think you should run. I'm like, what the hell am I running from? I'm like, I ain't gonna start running because if I run and they come out, they're gonna chase me. Like I ain't got no car, no cash right now. Like I'm waiting for. I got bus fare.
Yeah.
Yo, they come out. I'm not even gonna lie. Stupid me. They're like, hey, what's your name? I'm like, oh, okay, we got my people's wishes saying what's up to us in the building.
What's up, guys?
Bree,
What's up?
what's going on?
What up?
I'm also part of a band. That's my bigger brother's little sister.
All right.
So
All right.
shout out to you, Bree.
Yes,
Brianna
Bree.
Jones, what's going on? So I'm sitting there now, and they asked me, hey, what's your name? I'm not even lying. I told them my name was Antonio Banderas.
Yo, what
Bro,
kind of?
Yo, bro, honestly, I'm not. I kid you not. I told them, and I expected them to be like, okay, really, brother, you're named after the actor, same spelling and everything, bro. When the man said that to me, you know, the cop went back to the car and started searching for Antonio Banderas. Bro, he's like, sir, there's no Antonio Banderas in the file. I said, I looked at them and I was like, you guys are great cops. You guys are employees of the month. So they end up finding ID. Long story short, they're like, hey, they're like, you got a warrant for your arrest. Bro, my whole attitude shifted from run to pardon. Like, please arrest me. I want to find out what's really going on. We get to the station, and the detective that asks me if I know why I'm being, and like you said, like you're talking about people watching you and you got to undress and strip search. Like that part broke me. I have never in my life, except for in church, cried in front of grown men that I don't know. But yo, when that strip search happened, bro, I
don't think people really understand how serious that search is.
Bro, I had tears. I wasn't crying like, but yo, tears were running down my face because all my pride, all my dignity out the window.
Yeah, it breaks you. It breaks you as a man.
Holy, breaks you? Oh, man. I was so vexed because of that.
Yeah.
When I sat down in the chair now, and the detective comes and he goes, oh, Mr. Shan, do you know why you're here? I said, I only got about one question to ask you. Now, this is a white detective interviewing a black man for a warrant that he just caught his suspect for.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he's going to go about his job with the utmost professionalism. Like, in my mind is switched. I'm no longer the church boy that anybody knows. I'm no longer the organist or the piano player or the drummer that anybody, I'm not Blakey no more. You know what I mean? Now it's whatever you going to get. Like, now it's the beast. I go to him, I say, yo, bro, I'm not going to answer no questions. I got one question to ask you, though. I said, who called the cops? I kid you not. The man took over the case file and went like this. I put the case file with the snitch's name in my face. And, bro, I sat there, and on one hand, I was like, yeah, like, I'm going to go. And then I was like, wait a minute. Why are you as a cop who's supposed to uphold the peace and protect people? Why are you showing me who called the cops on me? Unless you want me to get out of here and go do something just so you can catch me on a battery or murder charge. I was like, really? So I held my wits about me. I did what I had to. I took what I had to take because after that, I thought I was going to get out to go to work. Bro, I had a new apartment and a new job lined up at General Communications. All that was gone the next day. Luckily for me, the month before, I managed to sit there and stash my clothes at my cousin's house. So when I went in, bro, that whole aspect of, you got to watch your back. And especially, it's like, that's a den of lions right there. And the worst is when you start getting favors from people and other people who've been in there longer than you feel like, yo, you shouldn't get no favors at all. Like, God was looking out for me so much that one of the elder guys off of the range that I was going to be on took me under his wing, and told everybody, don't touch me, don't talk to me, for the whole weekend. So much so that me and him got released on the same day. I left the courthouse before him, going to catch the train to get back into town to pick up my clothes. My man was so free after doing his bid. He got out. He said he didn't even want to change his clothes. He rode the train with me in his jumpsuit.
No, I don't blame him.
I was like, that's freedom for real. So trust me, that aspect of your life, I really resonate with it, because on the flip side, I was able to get out, and I had to defend myself and defend my case myself. And all I can say is, where you are now, where I am now, my wife just chimed in. She said, God's definitely got you both covered. That is for sure.
All right, girl. Okay, girl.
That's for sure. Yeah, that's for sure. Big up, wifey.
Thank you.
Big up, wifey. God's got you covered. So with that said, now you make the move. How long was it between that initial move after you finish your probation, you're on house arrest, whatever, you finish that? What's the transition like between that time and starting to get into Trey Arts as a business and as a love for arts itself and your expression in art? What's the time difference between that and the time that you get the studio?
All right, so man, like I said, I was broken. I have to relearn so much about, one, how to even get a job. So with me, when I start Trey Arts, I did it good. I got my business license. I did my logo, did my business page, got my cards. I done everything I was supposed to do.
Right.
Me at that time thinking, all right, if I'm giving you a business card, I expect you to call me, right? So I'm just off the street now. I'm just like, if I'm like, it's like me giving you a product, I need something back in return, right? So my mind was not on that business. It's just more of like, I'm giving you this, what you're going to give me back. So I had a lot of work to do mentally. So what happened? I still haven't made enough money to quit my job. So I had to go, and like I said, in 1 year I had about 10 jobs, and it's terrible. And like the transition from being on the street, and now you have to withhold a good job, not only because you're being watched, is because now you're trying to go move clean. For me, from a guy like me who's about to serve 30 years, they're just not going to let me go. And just be like, he's going to be good.
Conditions, definitely.
No. So I was always watched. So it was hard for me to keep jobs. Like, I'm always mad because after all that, when I was under house arrest, I was actually living, this is so messed up too. So when I was in Chalk Farm, I was actually teaching dance. I used to dance. So you know how
I remember you had your own crew at the time too.
You guys don't know. You guys don't know about it. So I used to teach a lot of dance, and that's how I also was making extra cash. So a white woman, I used to teach her her kids. So when I was on house arrest, I needed somewhere to go. I couldn't be house arrest in a shelter. So she said, Trey, you could stay with me. You my daughter, I'm a white woman. For a woman,
trying to get on an interview right now. Go on, my bad.
Yeah. It's all right. So for a woman to let a man in that they don't know around their two daughters, that is, like, she trusts me to a point where I didn't trust myself. So I realized, okay, I need to start, this woman trusts me. So when I've been doing all this, I've been trying to hold up jobs. So for about 6 years, I've been just trying to improve my my art, made my own myself. People call me now, like, yes, the paint night king, but when it comes to branding, I am big with know how to brand, as you guys could see. This is my next week painting. When it comes to branding, I know how to put things up. So
Right.
every time I always go out to any parties, I always wear clothing that have my logo on it.
Nice.
I draw on my clothes. So I try
Right.
to find ways where I could leave job, where so I could be my own boss. So between so six years now, about 6 years,
Right.
I've been hopping from warehouse to job, and I always want to give up. There's so many times I told, especially my ex, I told her, "Yo, this is not for me. I'm going
Right.
back on the streets. This um, $9 hour is not for me. This
Mm-hmm.
$200 a week, not for me." So I'm just like, I'm working my ass off, 10
Right.
hours a day sometimes, and I walk away with $200. And my mind was not, I was getting more mad, but I was keep, telling myself like, look, I'm in this for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll just have to build up. Maybe I'm not strong enough as yet. So
Right.
I have to go through all these obstacles to know how to handle it when it comes in my future.
Right.
So I reached a point now where 3 years ago, I, my my same ex, it's so it's never
Yeah.
relationship that every time I lose someone in a relationship, as in I'm not in that relationship no more, I find a better person in myself. So when I actually did
Mm-hmm.
that 3 years ago, me and my ex broke up, and I sat down and I was very suicidal that before. I just didn't want to live. I'm just like, I'm just over all of this.
Right.
Still feel like, I don't think people understand. I could have so many people saying Trey, but I'd have no one here with me.
Right.
So it's different for you to have your support group outside, but I needed that support group right here.
Right.
I never got that. So it doesn't matter how much people know me. I just didn't really. I felt like I still know no one. So 3 years ago, I actually took my money and I was gonna go and buy a Benz. So I sat there.
Jeez.
I'm like, wait, hold on. This is what I always preach on the street. Why are you gonna buy a Benz? Drive it off the lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about, this is when you don't have nothing. If you have the money,
Right.
you could buy a Benz. You still have your money. Sure, everybody treated.
Right.
If you're gonna go and buy name a Beamer or a Benz or Lexus, whatever, you drive that off. You could bust a U-turn and go back. They're not giving you half that money that you just gave them. They're selling the car to you
Exactly.
way less than they're buying it way less than what you paid. So when I started, I'm like, yo, why
Yeah.
would I invest? I already took so much risk in life already.
Mm-hmm.
What, like, is it a risk if I take a chance on myself? So what I did, I took my money. I keep on driving by my studio now. I keep driving by and I keep on seeing a sign. I'm like, no, I'm not going. So I decided to just call the guy. So I'm like, shit, I keep on seeing the sign. Let me call the guy. So I called him. I I came and see the place. My studio was not what it is now. The walls was gone. They had four different tiles. They had concrete on top of wood, and then carpet,
Jeez.
and then it was a mess. And I remember I showed one of my friends, and they're like, "Wow!" They're like, "This is what you want?"
Yeah.
Like, this is what you
Yeah.
want. But I'm like, but what I've learned, once you have a vision, don't ever look for someone else to kind of seal that vision, because what we always look for, confirmation. So, and that's what I was looking for when I got the studio. So I did not look for confirmation that time. I'm just said, you know what? No, I already see my vision. I know what I want. I'm like, I could make this happen. I've been talking about me having my own studio. It doesn't look the way it looks that I want it to look like, but you know what? I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it happen. So when I got the spot, I put in every single dime I got. I didn't realize it was two levels. I was
Right.
like, good. I'm like, damn. I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do with two levels? I'm like, what am I gonna do? So I put all my money in and I fix everything by myself to save money. I put in all my pot lights. I build my bar. I build shower. I build a kitchen area downstairs. I'm like, I'm going to teach myself everything and do everything myself because now I'm putting, once I was in a relationship, I wasn't putting so much love in my passion.
Right.
My passion got lost for another passion. So what happened? I now didn't have anyone else to focus on. So I focused on myself and I realized how much I could grow or how much you guys could grow if you just focus on yourself. And once you focus on yourself, nobody cannot take that away from you. And from 3 years to now,
Right.
man, I'm I'm just happy. I'm happy. I'm happy I made that move. I'm happy I made that risk. I'm happy I changed my life around. If what would I change anything in my life if I had a chance now? No, because if I did, I would not be the person I am now. So
That's
everything happened
facts.
for a reason. So
That's facts.
man, the the growth is and what is so messed up, my growth has been more since this COVID-19 thing. So when COVID-19 hit, I was like, damn, how am I gonna survive? So I called my landlord. I'm like, yo. Um, so with me, I don't like owing money. So when I got the
Yeah,
spot,
that's been something for you for time.
I don't like
You don't
owing
like
money.
owing nobody money.
Don't like owing people money. Don't like it. I want you to see me on the street. I want to go buy a fresh pair of shoe, and you walk up and be like, "Hey, you owe me money." No, I don't want that. Don't want that. So
That's
what?
facts.
So I called my. I always give my landlord, like when I got my spot, I give him like 2 years of checks.
Exactly.
And one, because he's an Italian man, and he look at me like when I come to any place, he watch me like this. He's like, what are you gonna do there? I'm
Exactly.
like, and, and I told the man, paint. He's like,
What?
paint. I'm like, yeah,
Seriously.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm a paint. And and this is when I came into this business not knowing what the hell I'm gonna do. I just wanted a studio. All right. So once I got it, I give him the checks. I'm like, not only have to prove something to myself, I have to prove something to people who's basically in a position like me or who are artists like me. And don't think in art you can make money. There's so much money in this world. Black people alone, we spend trillions of dollars a year on other businesses. So what are you trying to tell me that we cannot come up with an idea and
Mhm.
make trillions of dollars too?
That's facts.
So this, I always tell people, if I'm just knowing this from just life. I
Right.
never had I never had an issue with a fiend coming up to me and be like, Trey, I don't have the money. If if crackheads can find money to buy their drugs and
Uh-huh.
you are home laying
Think about
down,
it, brother.
you don't have no job, you can't find $1, can't find $5. So you're telling me a crackhead could out hustle you?
Get right? Uh, Somebody who's dependent on a substance that's gone in less than
Can
35
can
seconds.
make more money than you.
You.
So that's why I'm like, yo, I would never fail, no matter how low I get. So when my landlord didn't want to help me, I'm like, I have to make something work. And this is why I came
Facts.
up with my virtual paint night. And my virtual paint night is doing way better than I was even doing when I was open.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, this is why I keep on doing the things I do and keep on taking all pain and hurt. I take it, I soak it in, and I transition that pain into love because I see from my life what it have created. It gave me a second chance in life,
Mm-hmm.
and now if I keep going at it, it made me my business bigger than what it was before COVID, and I'm just keep on going to elevate and elevate. I'm not saying I'm not going to drop, but I will never fail. I
Facts.
I might fall, but
But you're not
I'm
gonna
never
fail.
going to fail.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fail ever. I'm not going to fail, and
Yeah.
that is what I'm going to manifest. And that's what I tell, especially people who follows me. I tell them, guys, next year I'm gonna be a millionaire. Next year I'm gonna reach that. You guys have
Facts.
to start manifesting things because I have learned that when I manifested all those things before, like what we said, 2006. I told you I want to do an art studio. 2006.
Six.
I didn't know one hell about business. I don't know what I know what business is. Honestly, at that time, I don't think I remember how much S's businesses had. I don't know how much S's it was businesses. You know,
Right.
so for me to to run a business, I was like, man. So that's